And hold on. All right. So we believe time is your greatest asset, and thanks for joining us this event. Let me go over the housekeeping rules first. This meeting will be recorded and posted online if you wanted to watch it again. If you missed something or wanted to share with some friends. Second, I'd like to ask everyone to please mute your mics to minimize distraction from our speaker and for everyone else. Third, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat and we'll answer them during the Q&A portion of the presentation. And lastly, please stick around after the presentation as we go into our breakup rooms to do some networking. Disclaimer, this is information only. For those of you that don't follow us on Facebook, please follow us on Facebook at Westside Meetup. It's a group we can follow and subscribe. Also, check us out on the YouTube channel. This is where we post these videos. Some events that are coming up is on February 28th, a meetup hosted by Tani Della Casara, and on March 10th.
Audio on.
Yes. March 10th is our next real estate meetup in the park. All right. Aloha, everybody. My name is Rod Baker. I'm one of 3 co-hosts of this awesome Westside meetup. I am an out-of-state investor. I buy and hold in the Midwest. I still work my W-2, looking to grow my portfolio. And that's it. Brandon.
Recording in progress.
Do you got anything? Oh, whoever, yeah, put yourself on mute. All right.
Awesome.
Brandon,
Yeah, no,
do you have
thank you
anything?
for that,
Sorry.
Rod. Yeah, no. Welcome everybody. Thanks for hopping on to Westside Meetup tonight. I'm excited for tonight just because it's multifamily and a little bit of self-storage. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Rabe. I'm an active investor. I'm also one of the advisors with WNN Properties. And now I'm moving into bigger deals. But yeah, that's all for me right now. And Rod pretty much covered everything as far as upcoming events goes. And I get to bring on Gil. What's up, Gil?
What's up, guys? Thanks for bringing me on, guys. Thanks for the intro, Brandon and Rod there. Great job. But yeah, for those of you who don't know who I am, Gil Coloma. It's just like Rod. Growing my portfolio out there in the Midwest, specifically in the Kansas City, Missouri market. Just growing it to gain more passive income to hopefully leave my W-2 sooner rather than later. I am also a WNN advisor with WNN Properties, where we consult and do mentorships for those wanting to invest out there in the Midwest also. But yeah, like Brandon said, I am excited to have our guest come on tonight. It's Anthony Pimental. I was talking to him a little bit here prior to the meetup. First time meeting him. Unfortunately, his partner John Lopez, who I met out in Vegas, couldn't make it tonight. But Anthony's gonna hold it down tonight for us, and I'd like to bring him on. Hey, Anthony.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. You want me to do my intro? We
Sure,
good?
man. Go ahead and do your quick intro, and then we'll go ahead and get this party started.
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Anthony Pimental. I'm from Southern California. So a little bit about me is I actually have a W-2 still, surprisingly. My background is IT. I've been doing that for about 20 years. I've always had that entrepreneur spirit. So I was very fortunate to have a very flexible schedule. So my passion's always been like, hey, I gotta start my own business. So while I was in IT, I opened a franchise restaurant, probably the craziest thing I've ever done. Restaurants are one of the hardest businesses. So when I did that, I knew once I got through it, real estate's going to be easy. So what I did was transition from the restaurant into real estate. Started off in the single family space. Also investing in the Midwest where I started because everything was just cheaper back then. And then I pretty much just scaled from small single family to multifamily, buying my first 21 units. And then from there, it's kind of just catapulted into where we are right now with 9 Doors Down, a company that we started up with my business partner, John, and his wife, just to scale. Because I was doing a lot of stuff by myself. I was what you call a solopreneur, where I think I can just do everything myself. I didn't want any partners. But I mean, at the end of all this, I mean, you need a team to really scale and build your business. And I'll tell you, in the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I was going from my personal, I had probably 30, 40 doors to where like over 1,000 doors now with just having the team. So I think that's pretty much my story, and then we can go to your questions and just go from there.
Sure, man. Yeah, let's get this going. But yeah, I am in the single family space right now, and so that you took that leap, like you just mentioned, into multifamily. But looking back now, what made you take that next step, and why did you not do it sooner, or do you regret not doing it sooner, or waiting?
I don't regret it because it's I learned the process. So let me see here. So the reason I scaled was because I was tired of managing the single families from like what I was doing. I was buying a house and then I bought a duplex, and I was doing a BRRRR strategy, and I did that for about a year, and I was just kind of like, once the tenant moved out, I was kind of screwed because I had to go turn it over, spend another $5,000, get somebody in there, and then also the scalability. So I have a property manager. The single family or the duplex would be in one area, and then drive 2-3 miles to just the location just was not good. So and plus the profit that you're gonna make. Like I was probably gonna making $100 here, $200 there, and then if there was any maintenance or a water heater went out, it was just an issue. I wasn't making a lot of money, right, on the cash flow side. Although it appreciated because I got tenants in there, I rehabbed the place, I was able to sell those, but I just didn't like that whole process. You know what I mean? Once I figured out what multifamily was, you can have one property, you can have multiple units in one. Property manager can just be in one location. You don't have to drive around different parts of the city. I just felt like it was a more efficient way to scale.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, great story there. But we've got a mixture of novice investors as well as skilled investors that have been doing it for a while here. For the novice investors, would you recommend jumping straight into syndications, or starting off with single families and learning that process and getting that good base prior to?
If I was a novice, like if I was just starting out, I would jump right into multifamily, just because of the fact that it's just more beneficial. Like I said, like you can have multiple vacancies and still be able to pay rent. You know what I mean? And I recommend partner up. If partner up with someone and go take a larger deal down. Even larger deal meaning like you can do like a 10 unit, 20 units, something that you can manage. I would recommend that instead of just buying a single family. Just the loan process it's kind of a headache. There's just a lot of stuff, and it's really tough to grow. You know what I mean?
Sure. So are you still in the single family space, or have you gotten rid of all those green homes and cashed them in for
I
hotels?
Yeah, I sold all my single family homes back in, I would say 2018. 2018, and I just sold my 121 unit that I've had for 5 or 6 years. We can go into that story. That one was that was rough. So what I recommend too is you guys, if you're looking to buy out of state, stay away from the D neighborhoods, especially if you're not there. D neighborhoods meaning just rough neighborhoods. The type of tenant base you're gonna have is rough. It's just a bigger headache, and I did that for 4 or 5 years. I got some scary, crazy stories to share.
I mean, yeah, sounds like you got rid of it. But yeah, Chris Lumley put D for Detroit, but
Yeah.
So how did this next step catapult you in your investing journey? I know you shared a little bit that you're up to, what was it, about 1,000 doors now?
Yes. Yeah, once I got past that, like I got 20. Once I got into that 21 unit, it was like the process is the same. Really, it's one property, it's just more units, and you're just pretty much renovating. In a way, it's better because you're just renovating a small space. You're not renovating the entire home. You're working with like 400 or 500 square feet to 800-900 square feet as compared to a whole house. So once I figured out that process of like, hey, it's more efficient. I can work with the right contractors. They can do 2 or 3 different units at once. I can raise the rents. And I was just like, okay, this is the way to go. And then I pretty much started joining other masterminds, networking like what you guys are doing, and working with other investors to figure out how to take down a larger, even more deals. And then when John and Tony approached me about 2.5 years ago that they were selling their single family home, their rental in the Bay, I think it was Carson area. They're like, hey man, I want to do what you do. And kind of like once I knew that they were all in, we formed, 9 doors down. The first property we actually took down was 9 units in Tucson. So that's hence the name 9 Doors Down. So from there, I mean, from the last 2 years, I mean, we went from personally, I was around 40 something doors with adding them to the team. I mean, we went with more partnerships, and we went to, I think, 300 to 500 doors. And then now we added self-storage. So we're over 1,000 now. And we've just been continuing to grow because of the teamwork effort. Before I was doing a lot of it on my own.
Mhm.
But as soon as you find the right team, the team or the group of people you want to work with, start delegating where your skills are going to go through, you know what I mean? And in my case, I was really more of the asset manager, the acquisitions, because I was taking deals down on my own, but they really helped me with the marketing and then also capital raising. I think, so to answer your question was, before I wasn't capital raising, I was just, like I said, I didn't want to ask people for money. I just wanted to just do everything on my own, thinking I can just do it and then partner up with a couple guys. But the more deals you want to take down, there's all those opportunities. When you take down a deal, your capital is going to be stuck there for X amount of time until you dispose of the asset. But if there's new deals that are coming up and you see new opportunities, you're going to have to raise capital in order to take those down, because not everybody has endless money.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
can you share a little bit about what 9 Doors Down is? You kind of gave us a brief history of what it is. So what are you guys looking for? Are you guys looking for we know you guys do syndications, right? Are you guys looking for general partners or limited partners? And how are you guys raising that capital?
Yeah, so let me give you a little history. So last year we were asked to be part of a GP group to take down a 436 unit self-storage. So the goal was to raise about 4.5 million. And that was the first time we ever raised capital, ever, because we think we can do everything on our own and just put in our funds. But then what we did is, once we shared the deal, we didn't realize, like, our track record really helped, and we were able to raise between our group and a couple of the groups a couple GPs in the deal. We were able to raise 4.5 million in about 2.5 weeks. And now we were like, whoa, you know what I mean? And then we ended up pivoting from there, because when we saw that I'm not gonna say it was that easy, but when we saw that a different type of opportunity, because we had actually, what happened was we had about $1 million of excess capital that didn't get to be put in the deal because our investors were either too slow or didn't have a chance to wire the money. So we had to kick them out of the, we didn't allow them in the deal. So I came up with this idea. I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. So we came up with opening a fund. So now our actual focus is just complete capital raising through our fund. And we now invest. We could be a GP, we could JV into deals, or we partner up with, let's say, you guys find deals and it fits our criteria. Our fund would invest into your deals. So we're not really looking for properties like I used to, like where we talk to brokers, the deal flow. We don't really do that anymore and underwrite like we used to. Now we just partner up with guys who have deals, who are trusted operators, who know how to operate deals, who know what they're doing, and then we just partner up with them as part of the GP. Or we could do what we've done with larger syndicators who are doing like 500, who have like 500 to $1 billion in assets. We just LP into their deals. So our fund is very flexible. So to answer that, I mean, we kind of pivoted. Now we're not just looking for one property and syndicating it. Our fund now goes into multiple deals, and it's always just continuous. We're always trying to find a deal, and we feel that's it's better for us because it's flexible in a way. We don't have to wait. We already have the deal flow from other operators.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that's one thing I
Yeah.
like about, real estate investing is, the creativity that you can come up with, right, in funding these deals and, finding the money, as well as, taking down or underwriting some deals. But that creativity right there is the first time I've heard of, creating a fund and then, diversifying it that way. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about real estate. You can go any which way. It's get creative and you can make money. It's real estate. I mean, but we feel this is the space we want to be. It's fairly new because our fund is very unique in a way where it's customizable. So if you guys are familiar with a traditional fund, people put money in the fund. Let's say if it's a real estate fund, let's say it's a self-storage fund. You put money into that fund, and that fund is just buying all types of real estate, and you get one type of return based on everything they've bought. In our case, our fund is customizable. So think of it like a brokerage like TD Ameritrade or Coinbase and crypto. Is you put money in our fund, and then you can pick and choose which deals you want to be part of based on the deals that we have. So we can have a multifamily deal that gives you X amount of returns, and then a different self-storage deal that's giving different types, or a short-term, let's say Airbnb portfolio. You can pick and choose and diversify within our fund which deals you want to be in, and you get those returns per that deal. It's not the entire portfolio, if it makes sense.
Nice. Yeah, that's very interesting to me. I'm probably gonna hit you up after this meetup to get
Yeah,
more
I mean-
information on that stuff, man. Awesome.
For
But
sure.
sounds like you guys do self-storage also? Is that
Yes,
correct?
we love self-storage. It's not the sexy, it's not sexy like multifamily where you can spice up the kitchen and backsplash and bathrooms. I mean, self-storage is just a box. As long as the doors work and you have the right drain, like if it's an outdoor like drainage, you don't have flooding when it rains. I mean, that's pretty much it. We love it because of the low cost maintenance. What else is there? You can leverage. I mean, the eviction process is easy. You can literally leverage people's stuff against them. You don't pay me, I can lock up your storage. When you pay me, I'll give you your stuff. It means that it's pretty much. Of course, you go through the process, but it's quick.
Sure. I mean that
But-
you've talked about a little bit about it, but what are other pros and cons about self-storage and some things to look out for, when you're first starting off in self-storage?
I mean, I think the pros are, I think one is resistant to how do you say that, recession, because storage is always a necessity, right? Just like multifamily. I think those are the big pros. Second is the expense ratio. Your expenses are much lower. If you run it the right way where you can have it unmanned, I mean, you can be very, very profitable. As far as cons, I would say, you got to be in the right location. You got to do your study on the demographics, make sure your competition, it's not oversaturated. Like those are the kind of things. But also, I mean, to say that the with self-storage, even with, if you're self-storage, the occupancy is very low. You can run at 80% and still be profitable. So, I mean, but I think the cons, I mean, I would say you make sure you choose the right location. Do your study, check the demographics, make sure that there's a need for your storage or need for
Awesome.
the square footage.
Yeah, I like how you said that, man. We for some reason we keep stacking stuff in our garages and storage space here. And yeah, I see self-storage as being a commodity here. Somewhere people always got to store stuff. So I see a niche there.
And it's not like, I mean, it could be seasonal, but I mean, literally storage is for any type of event, like a life-changing event, a divorce, a death in the family. Like people just can't get rid of stuff. And we've noticed that. And then there's this trend. Now there's a new trend where I guess during the pandemic, all these people side hustle. People use self-storage as their business, as their, like they use it as like a pop-up shop. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I've got all this, like I know one person or one of our good friends, before he opened his store, he was selling, those vintage t-shirts. Had them all in the storage. I mean, what's $150, if we raise it $10 or $100, we raise it 10 bucks, 10%. It's not going to make a difference to them. The self-storage, just longer leases too.
Nice. I mean, bottom line, as long as you do your due diligence up front and run the numbers correctly, if it's a deal at the end of the day, I mean, if it makes sense, right? It's like a multifamily, single family, self-storage. I assume it's all the same. If it makes sense, cash flows at the end of the day, taking it down, right?
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. So one question here, what markets are you guys in or primarily targeting?
So we primarily we're focused in Arizona, mostly the Sun Belt states, but right now we really like Arizona because that's kind of our backyard. We know it, and Texas.
What markets in Texas? All throughout Texas? Or
That's a good question because we were really focused on San Marcos, San Antonio, and then we ended up in a Corpus Christi deal, Corpus Christi, Texas. So we never know. But Texas overall, we like. What else is there? San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth is kind of still expensive. We like Irving, but of course, that's more like Phoenix. It's more lower cap rates and more expensive.
Sure.
But I mean, Texas and Arizona, I would say, are our focus.
Nice. So I'm thinking like it's like the BRRRR strategy, right? For self-storage and multifamily deals that you guys are taking down. We're gonna take it down. We're gonna add value to it, increase the value, and refinance at the end. Is that what it sounds like for multifamily?
Yeah, in short, yes, it's the same thing, but with a larger building. It's the same process. We refi, but sometimes if the opportunity is there, we can sell.
Gotcha.
In the current market, refinancing may not work right now, unless you refinance into like a agency debt. which a lower long-term and lower, interest rate.
Sure.
But it really depends on your strategy. You can do anything, so it doesn't even matter.
Awesome. I'm gonna start picking from the chat here. So if you all got any questions, please put it up in the chat here. I'll go through it one by one. So Daniel Kong has a question: or what kind of monthly cash flow do you get from $1,000?
Well, there's a lot of partnerships, so I don't have that calculated, but I mean, it's a good amount of money. Let's just say that.
It's a good amount of money. So let's just say, I'm assuming I know just a little bit about syndication. So how do you pay off your your LPs and whatnot? Is it like on a quarterly basis? I know it's usually gonna be a percentage basis, and then I guess when the property sold or refinanced, and that's when they get their capital returned to them, or
Yeah.
can you
So
explain that process a little bit?
yeah. So what we do is, depending on the deal, right? So let's say for self-storage, we do our distributions quarterly. Okay. Because there's self-storage is, like I said, it's boring. You're not doing a lot of renovations. You're doing a lot more CapEx. I mean, like fixing doors, if there's roof issues, it's not a lot. So we do quarterly distributions, and usually, depending on the deal, it could be a 80-20 split or a 70-30 split. So 80% being the investors, the LPs, and the 20% being the GPs. So it would be split. So basically, let's say if you have a preferred return, let's say this storage deal has a preferred return, the first 8% of the NOI, or the capital, the net income, would go to the investors and then be split 80-20. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And then for multifamily, it's the same thing, but we just do it more on a monthly basis, because the strategies that we do is we're actually renovating units, we're turning them over, getting rid of bad tenants. You know what I mean? So we're able to see that type of capital increase a lot sooner. So our and then, like I said, same thing, 70-30. If there's a pref, the investors get that first 8% of the net, and then it gets split.
Awesome. Yeah, I got Gene is asking a question here. I'm not sure if you already answered it, but he's asking, what's the hold time for the investor capital?
We do about 3 to 5 years, but we've worked with other operators where we exited in the last one was 14 months. So, with real estate, if we know that we can double the capital of our investors and then roll that over into a larger deal, we'll do it.
Sure. Brandon has a question. So what's your criteria for a self-storage facility?
So our criteria right now, I mean, it's 100+ units for sure. In the Sunbelt states, we look for value add where it's a mom and pop, right? Because the strategies we're doing is we're making them unmanned. So where we're working with a property manager that's nationwide. We're actually working with right now. That's been really good to us, and pretty much getting rid of all the employees, hiring just like a maintenance person or a contract a maintenance person just to do the cleanouts and any I guess repairs that are required. But really value add, and maybe if it has extra land, that's another value add play. Let's say it has an extra acre lot that hasn't been built on, we can build another a few hundred units back there too. So, or you could just do a RV lot, put a metal roof, and then they can park their RV. That's another source of income. It's really whatever whatever you decide. Like it really depends on it also depends on the area. There has to be a need for it. You know what I mean?
Right. So it all depends on the area and what that self-storage is looking like, right? So you just adapt to that, right? So Michael Chang has a question.
Sure.
Can you speak a bit to how you do your due diligence for self-storage? Says he feels like the info is pretty readily available for real estate. I'm assuming it's single family homes and multifamilies, but wouldn't know where to look for self-storage information. And how do you determine the need?
So that's a good question. So self-storage, basically we'll do a broad overview, right? So first thing, if you get let's say a broker sends you a deal, right away, go to Google Maps and do a search for all the self-storage within a 3-mile radius, right? That's the first thing. And then you can see all your competition. And usually you can do the calculation on square foot per capita. It's basically let me make sure I remember this. It's basically the population, and then you add up, like in a 5-mile radius, if let's say there's 5 self-storage facilities, you'll just add up all the square footage of each facility and divide it by the population within the 5-mile radius, and it'll give you like the per square foot per capita. And I believe if you're in the 7, if it comes out around 7 to 10, there's a need for it. Anything higher than that, usually it's but it depends, you know what I mean? I don't want to make that the rule of thumb, but anything that says 13 square foot and up, I mean, there's a less need for it, if that makes sense. Another due diligence is talking to other brokers and then calling the facilities within the 3-mile or 5-mile radius. Call them up and say, hey, what are your units renting for? Hey, what's your occupancy? Do you have a wait list? Like, those are the things just to start with before you actually do the due diligence when you actually walk the property. And then that part is it's more of just like walking any home or single family. It's just like you check the roofs, you check the doors. In this case, you just check the roofs, the doors, the driveway. The drainage is a big thing because, sometimes they just put a metal box on top of like asphalt. When it rains, where does the water drain? Like those kind of little things.
Nice.
Yeah, and then just deferred maintenance overall on the building, the exterior.
Sure. Nice.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question, Mike.
That's just kind of like to start, like if you wanted to get going.
Yeah, he said thank you. That did.
Yeah.
So Cedric, my Filipino brother up there in Northern Cal, he's got a loaded question here.
Yeah.
In your syndication, sounds like you set up your waterfall structure. For example, when you do your paybacks, how do you determine how to structure your payouts? How you determine minimal requirements to enter the syndication? And do you have a standard way to do them all, or is it deal dependent?
Well, it is deal dependent because, it depends on the market too, right? But we structure a deal from the beginning. There's got to be a set of returns that we want to have our investors have, like 6 to 8% pref. We look for stuff that are minimum 15 to 17% IRR. If we're hitting those, then we'll start the waterfall. Then we'll add, let's say, anything over 20% IRR, we split 50-50, something like that. It really depends on the deal, but minimum, that's what we like to start with, at least 6 to 8% pref. and then 15% to 17% IRR. So I hope, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And it is very deal dependent because every
Awesome.
deal is different. So one can have a lot more CapEx involved because you're raising more capital. The returns may change, you know what I mean? And more deferred maintenance. It really depends on the type of class of asset that we're buying.
Awesome. So Cedric is also asking, do you typically pay out cash to investors and keep ownership?
We haven't done that. You mean like buy out the investor once? Is that what he means?
He's nodding his head yes. Yeah.
You know what? We did have a strategy for that, for one deal where we at refinance, we pay out the investors and keep and then just the GP group keep the entire deal where we would cash flow. But to answer your question, we have not done that. It was a strategy, but we haven't done it. It was an option. But usually, I'll be honest with you, I don't think we would want to do that because we want to keep our investors, right? If we cash you out, we pay you out, now you have infinite returns. We want you in the deal. The cash flow might be a lot less, but now you have extra capital. We can go buy more stuff together. So it was an option, but really we've never done it.
Nice. Thanks. Thanks for explaining that. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Cedric says thank you. I think he's done. You good, Cedric?
All right.
Awesome. And this portion now I'd like to transition over. I'll come right back around to you, Anthony.
Sure.
As we wrap it up, but I'd like to transition over to our investor spotlight. So I'd like to introduce Jen Gonzalez. She is in the room. I see her. Hoping she comes on the camera. Jen, are you on? There she is. So, hey Jen.
Hello.
Thanks for being on our investor spotlight. So, Jen is a former mentee. She graduated from WNN Properties, mentorship, and now she's doing well. So she's going to share a little bit about what she's done and what she's going to be doing in the future. And all that good stuff. Go ahead, Jen.
Hi. Yeah. I joined WNN in the tail end of 2021, and I had a pretty awesome mentor, certain bald-headed guy, and he was really good, and now I consider him a good friend. And I knew absolutely nothing when I started that journey. I still have a lot to learn. But in 2022, last year, I bought 3 properties. I bought a duplex and inherited, is that what we call a hybrid, Burr, where I inherited the tenants. And eventually, once their leases are up, I'll probably rehab those. And then I bought a single family, which was a Burr. It was, some might call it a nightmare Burr. I learned a lot with that one, but actually that house taught me so much. I went with the recommendation or referral of my real estate agent with a contractor on that one, and she spoke very highly of him, and it turned out he did not know what he was doing. Like, basically, I think I could have flew up to Kansas City and renovated the house myself, and it would have been a lot better. But learned a lot from that one, and I am very grateful to that house. And then just at the close of the year, I bought the last property, which is a single family, and that was my first seller finance deal. And I lucked out with that one. The the seller is a really great guy, and I'm hoping in the future might be an angel investor for me. But yeah, lots of learning with all of that. Right now, I've kind of pivoted at the end of the year, and this was a surprise to even me. But I'm in the process of getting my real estate license, and I will be working with Engel and Volker's Real Estate. My really good friend Kei Mukaikawa is the principal broker there and asked me to come aboard and help and work with her on her team that specializes in DSTs and CRETs. And so DSTs are Delaware Statutory Trusts, and CRETs are charitable remainder uni trusts. And so for investors, that's a really good thing. Is so for all you guys with like single family portfolios that kind of want to move into a different asset class. I mean, you can do that with a regular 1031, but there's huge tax benefits for investors using a DST. And we offer a lot of educational seminars on that. So if you guys are ever interested, just hit me up. And that's what I'm doing now. And I do want to move into the multifamily world also. And I'm looking forward to that journey too. But, you know, one thing at a time. Anyhow, thanks for letting me
Awesome.
share.
No, thanks for sharing, Jen. And yes, consider Jen a good friend now. We had many conversations throughout the year, and it was a great learning experience for me also. And there was a lot of pivoting. And yeah, I saw someone, I think it was Sheldon, that who put it's a nightmare bird, but a lot of lessons were drawn out of it, right? So we cannot fail. We only can learn and grow, right? And Jen has moved on, and there's a brighter future here now. She's becoming a realtor, right? Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jen. Circling back around to you, Anthony, I know, before we got onto the presentation here, you were talking about a mentorship. So that 9 Doors Down is going to start. So if you could, touch on that and share what it's about.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, so what we like to do, I mean, our goal with 9 Doors Down is to help as many people as we can. And that's like for people just starting in the game, or if there's just investors who really just want to passively invest. So we came up kind of with this idea because we've had a bunch of people, my business partner, John, he does a ton of meetups in Vegas, and there's a lot of flippers out there, not in the multifamily space, who wanted to raise capital and want to scale. And they've asked us, and we actually have helped them. And we've had at least 3 of them within the last 3 to 6 months open up their own fund. So we're like, hey, why not just why don't we put what we do or what we shared with them, put it on paper? And that's where we're starting a small mentorship program where we can show any investor how to pretty much raise capital. It doesn't matter what type of investment it is. We'll teach you and walk you through the entire process from, your networking, your pitch, setting up your pitch deck, how to present to people, and just get you comfortable through that whole process, and practicing. And we can be your guide we can, be the partner, like in your presentations, we can be there with you when you present. Because if you're looking to scale in this business in real estate, it doesn't matter if you're, let's say, all you want to be is an asset manager, all you want to be is the acquisitions guy. No matter what, you still have to raise capital, because at the end of the day, we need capital to take down more deals. I was the same way when I first started. I was like, I don't want to ask anybody for money. No, I just want to take down deals. Like, no, I don't want to do that. But once I figured it out and we were growing as a company, no matter what, you got to have capital raiser in your resume, no matter what. You can't just rely on 2 other of your partners. It's a team effort. So yeah, I mean, we're launching that in March. Like I said, I mean, if you guys are interested, feel free to hit us up or DM me or hit us up on 9 Doors Down. But we're really excited about that because, you know, like I mentioned, we were able to help 2 or 3 groups, and man, they moved quick. Usually to open a fund takes 6 months, takes a much longer, especially with the attorney back and forth. And we were able to do that, and now they're able to really just find deals and go. They're raising capital every day. It doesn't matter if they have a deal right now, it's for their potential deal. So all you're doing is you're creating this database. You're building this funnel of people that when they're ready, they're in your list when you finally send out your deals. And you trust me, you'll never know who's gonna invest with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice. And it's all part of you know, the real estate investing journey, right? I was like you, was hesitant on, you know, raising private money, thought I could do it on my own, but you know, this is a team sport. We gotta create partnerships and get into that space where, you know, to scale and grow. If you wanting to get into, you know, bigger and better deals, right, is partnering up, doing joint ventures, right? So where's the best place to you know, connect with you, Anthony?
You know, we're Instagram. You can do at 9 Doors Down, or my personal one. It's at dog26. There's one, or you can call, you know, my phone number, you guys can share my phone number. Where else is there? Email Pimental@9doorsdown.com. I mean, if you guys have any questions, I mean, I know if there's a lot of people that are fairly new, feel free to hit us up. I mean, we're just a text, a call away, just to, we don't mind helping out because we've been there before, and we know how it is. And like I said, I tried to do everything myself. It was rough, but any mentorship or any help, you know, you never know, you can just catapult to that next deal.
Nice. Well, so what's on the horizon for 9 Doors Down? Sounds like you guys are, you know, churning and growing. And what's the next big catapult step for 9 Doors Down?
The biggest one right now is, so we have a current deal that we're going to be closing next month. It's I think 186 unit in Phoenix, but that one is a fund of a fund model. That one is, we're LP in that deal. So we're working with an operator who has over $1 billion worth of assets. We trust them. This is our 5th deal with them. We've personally invested with them before 9 Doors Down. So that's one. And then our biggest one is probably a medical office. We're looking for land to build a medical office in Vegas. We already, that one's gonna be big. And our partners have already met with the mayor, and I'll be honest, they're not gonna say no because of giving us land, because the fact that there's a need for a medical office in North Las Vegas. They don't have one, basically.
Nice. Excited to see where 9 Doors Down grows to, man. My brother's in Vegas, and you know, excited to see it come up in northern Vegas there. But
yeah, appreciate it.
You know, yeah. Brandon, do you have any other questions for Anthony?
Yeah, thanks, Gil. No questions really. I just really appreciated Anthony coming on, and some of the takeaways I got from him speaking, I guess more revolved around self-storage, just because I'm interested in that as well. So Anthony, just your tips on, you know, why you're doing self-storage. You talked about it being recession resistant and having those low expenses, and then even raising rents, right? 10% on $100 is $10. So tenant's not really going to feel that, but you're still raising it 10%, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I might have to connect with you afterward just to pick your
brain. Yeah, like I said, dude, like, feel free, anybody on this call, whoever, text me. We can jump on a call. Whether you guys invest in our deals, or if you guys want to partner, or you need help maybe looking over certain things when you're on your underwriting, because I know people here are going to want to try to be active, and that's perfectly fine. But if I can give you some of my tips, feel free to reach out. I mean, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah,
But
great stuff.
make sure you guys come up to me. Make sure you do your homework, though. Make sure you do your homework for whatever deal you're working on. But if I mean, of course, but if you're in my backyard, like Phoenix, Texas, I already pretty much, I know I can gauge what type of those type of deals are. So,
Sounds
and
good.
probably my last thing on, I mean, just for you guys starting out is just take action. I mean, a lot of people I'm an action guy. I'm not the smartest. I barely graduated high school, but I took action. You're gonna learn when you take action. You can underwrite 20, 30 deals a month. Great. But if you don't go in there and get in the game, how you gonna know you're gonna make money? And that's taught me a lot, because like I said, craziest thing I ever done was thinking I'm gonna go open a restaurant, and which I did, and fortunately we've been open for 8 years. I didn't go bankrupt, so I did something right. You know what I mean? So like, I think the last thing is you guys got to take action. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah, educate yourself, learn your niche, find your niche, but really take action. Take that next step.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Somebody just shared with me not too long ago the acronym for FAIL, right? People, that's what keeps them from taking more action, is because they're afraid of failing. Well, FAIL just stands for first attempt in learning.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you, Anthony. Awesome.
No, for sure.
So yeah, well, we are 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so I get to wrap things up. And again, Anthony, thank you so much for spending your time here with us. We appreciate your insight. And for everybody else, his contact info is in the chat, so you can reach him by his phone number, hit up his link tree. He has all of his links there, and go give him a follow at Nine Doors Down. And also Jen too. Thank you, Jen, for hopping on and being our investor in our investor spotlight. I'm going to put everybody's contact info actually in the chat. That way you can go and connect with them afterwards if you have more questions, or maybe just want to give words of encouragement. As far as our meetup goes, we're not done yet. We are going to transition into our breakout rooms very shortly. But before we get to that part, I'm just going to go over a couple announcements. So if you guys aren't already a part of our Facebook group, go ahead and join the group. That's where we post the replays. That's where we post upcoming events. It's just an opportunity for you to stay updated with everything that's going on within Westside Meetup, along with Real Estate at the Park, which is the in-person one that we do every month. Don't forget as well, we have a meetup roster. So you may not be able to connect with everybody here on the call. So that meetup roster is just your opportunity to fill out, get connected with other people, let them know that, hey, I got a deal going on, trying to raise funds. Or like Michael, right? I want to learn more about self-storage. Who else is interested in self-storage? So go ahead, fill out that roster. In order to get connected to the people that fill it out, you have to fill it out as well. So just share who you are, what you're good at, and one thing that you need support with. And then lastly is the email. So we do send updated or updates on our email list. And I also wanted to let you folks know that in addition to getting updates on the meetups, we're going to also start sending out information about opportunities to join the WNN community of active investors. So if you're not open to receiving that kind of stuff about how you can learn about investing and getting plugged into an active community, just let us know that you want to opt out on it. And instead, just make sure you follow us on social media. That way you know when the upcoming meetings are going to take place. All right. As far as upcoming events go, like Rod had mentioned early on, we do have a meetup next week, Tuesday, that's being held by Tawny Della Calzada. That's on 28th, 5 p.m. TJ's Bar and Grill. you do need to sign up. So the link is there in the chat. And it might only be for women too. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it seems like it's geared more toward women. March 10th next month, we're going to have real estate at the park, 7 p.m. at Eva Mahiko District Park again. That's going to be a Friday night. And then next month, Westside Meetup, we're going to have Josh Nisley come on, and he's going to share about tax liens. So it's a lucrative strategy. If you want to learn more about that, I highly encourage you guys come on. Josh Nisley is Keena Nisley's husband. I'm pretty sure you may have heard of Keena Nisley. She's very active on social media, holds a bunch of meetups. So her husband is going to be coming on to talk to us about investing in tax liens. So that's everything I get to share with you folks, and just in time too. So now we're going to transition into our breakout session.